You guys good? You good? Everybody good?
Totally good.
Well, good.
Yep.
Amber, good? Gwen, good? Hi, welcome back to the Obvious Choice Podcast, or as I will call it today, the Amber Show. This is
Nice.
part 2 of how to add value without money. And the beautiful thing about these episodes is that Gwen and I don't need to do squat because Amber's shown up. And so I actually brought cookies this episode. Gwen already said that he had snacks, and we're going to be shoving her face while Amber does all of the work. So, Amber, let's continue on. In part 1, we hit on
Wait, I want to
10 different-
postpone for
10
a
different things.
second. Let's
What are we
postpone
postponing? What are we
me
postponing?
talking. Ren,
Oh, okay.
you got something in the mail.
Yes, and I did not open it.
Right. So do you want to do that now?
I'll do
Oh,
it
yeah.
at the end. I'll do it at the
You
end
wanna do it
because
at
I
the
gotta
end?
go. I gotta get the box off the counter and get a box cutter. So while you're
Oh.
chatting, I'm gonna rise up and go get the
box
box,
cutter?
and then at
What
the
is
end,
this? Fucking United Kingdom, great old England, a box cutter?
What would you call it? It's box cutter.
I'm
Fucking
gonna go get
knife.
my Glock
I
9.
don't know.
No, the thing that slides out, it's a box cutter. That's what they're called.
No, it's not. No,
Yes, it
That's
is.
what it's called. That's what it's called in the
It's called an
States, John.
X-Acto knife. It's called an X-Acto knife.
That's a brand. That's like saying
Yeah.
a hot tub and a
Kleenex.
jacuzzi are the same thing.
Kleenex and
Jesus,
Now I'm
tissue.
upset. Can we get into this so
Exactly.
I can start eating my cookies and that'll make me happy?
Well, you have to name them. So that's your
So-
job today.
We're continuing on with ways to add value without money, because that's just, I mean, we talk about all of these big complicated things in business all of the time and all of these big things, but the reality of it is the best businesses are made by doing the little things really well over time. And so that's why, like what we did in the last episode in part 1, which if you hadn't listened to it, don't leave this episode. They don't continue on. They're all independent things. But when you've done this, you might want to go back and listen to part 1 so that you get all of the things and ways to add value without money. So what I'm doing is I'm reading the title. Amber compiled this document. I'm reading the title. Amber's coming in, giving a bunch of context and wisdom and stories and stuff like that. And then if there's anything else for Ren and I to add, which there probably isn't, because Amber's pretty smart, then we'll add it. So another way to add value without money, because I don't know if these things are numbered, and if they are, I don't have the numbers. So another way, which is awkward, is to make it clear.
So before I dive in, we talked about this on the last episode, but just to reiterate, not to do everything. This is not a to-do list for you, but to find the things that do kind of speak to you that you want to. That is a good-looking cookie. I hate you both.
That's a cool cookie.
I hate you both. But to pick and choose the things that you feel like you can implement soon. So anyway, so making it clear. So a lot of times we forget what other people know, and we're so comfortable in speaking to peers that we forget that we need to talk to our clients differently. So we do want to make sure that we're avoiding jargon, for example. Like I was editing a article with a student trying to teach them kind of like things to look for. And one of the big things was like avoiding just typical personal trainer jargon, and showing them, how can I say this in a way that's more relatable, in a way that uses their kind of life, so that way they better understand it. So making sure that we're using our clients' language. So like I used to have when I was working in person, I had older clients, and they would often say like, oh, like I want to get rid of my bat wings. So like instead of saying triceps, like I don't love that they refer to their body that way, but it's what they use. So whatever. We'll deal with
Somebody
that problem
said bingo
later.
wings to me the other day.
Bingo wings, double bye-bye arms. I've heard
wings?
it all.
Oh, because you throw your arm
Bingo!
up and it goes when you get bingo. Yeah.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
That's good.
Wow, you were like, "Just lay off it, Barbara," because that's an old person's name.
Oh, Barb.
Yeah. So, and then just like making really easy to navigate guides, as needed. That's a huge project that I'm working on right now for Quick Coach is, we have help docs now, but like, how can we make it even easier, for people to navigate and not like throw all of the information at them at the same time.
And no matter how intuitive your thing is, it doesn't really matter. Put yourself in their shoes. When you got to put yourself in shoes, put yourself in their shoes, where they don't know what you know. They don't come from the world that you come in. Like like what is so common to you, what is your unconscious competence, because it is literally your life, is something that is entirely foreign to them. There's a story that I love telling where I had a workout partner many years ago. I was a personal trainer, but he wasn't. At this point, he was a pilot, and then he became an air traffic controller. And he was a workout partner, and he was a great workout partner because I had time in the middle of the day, and because he was a pilot, if he wasn't flying, he had time to work out in the middle of the day. So we worked out all the time together, and I remember we barbecued food after the workout one day. My parents lived close by the gym. We went in their backyard and we barbecued food. And we were talking about muscles, because that's what guys talk about when they're barbecuing, I guess, after a workout. I don't know. We were talking about muscles. And I don't remember exactly what I said or how I said it, but I was explaining muscle cross bridge formation to him. So I was explaining the actin and the myosin and how they pull apart. And I must have been saying it like kind of a conceited jackass, because he stopped me at one point and he just looked me straight in the eyes and he goes, "What's the average takeoff velocity of a Boeing 747? And it stopped me in my tracks, because for a pilot, that's common knowledge. You're a dolt if you don't know the answer to that question. But for me, I don't know what the answer to that is. Well, it's the same thing for us, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
A trainer knows that actin and myosin create a bridge, and when you're in the eccentric part of the lift, they pull apart and blah, 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 blah.
Some trainers know that, John. I think you're being a bit overzealous there with the average trainer.
Regardless, we understand things because we think about them every day.
Yes.
And it is hard from our vantage point to continue to remind ourselves that other people maybe don't think about this thing every single day. Maybe they think about their thing every single day, which is totally reasonable. Mm-hmm. Totally reasonable.
May I interject here? Because I've done no work for this episode and don't really have much to say, so this may be the only time I can sound smart. I just need a disclaimer first. For the dick out there listening to this.
For the what?
The dick. Because the dick. Invariably there's
like dick, like penis dick.
Well, more of a euphemism for a person who, because I don't think
penis is actual penis, not an actual penis.
I've not checked recently,
but actually talking to a penis.
No.
You're talking to somebody that you're referring to as a penis, as a negative.
Yes, because the negative nice connotation of a human being.
Understood. Thank you.
Penises don't have ears that I know of. But for the dick out there,
that's an issue.
Yeah, that I know of. I haven't checked recently, but for the dick out there that's listening to this and saying and thinking, no, that's the way I operate. Because some people do this erroneously. However, there are some amongst us that do this purposely because they think that it makes them sound way cooler, smarter. It's going to pull in the clients because they're so intelligent. Using jargon is the comb over of personal training. Everybody knows what's going on except for you, right?
What?
Like it's the comb over.
Skip past that, my friend.
That was amazing.
I told you I only had one thing to say today. And let me get back to this box.
I'm sad we had that whole long penis conversation, and it's just longer to get to that line.
It will detract. Everybody notices that you're trying to purposely sound more informed and important than you are. Even the client, I don't know, even the client that doesn't really know what you're talking about, they are intelligent enough to know that you're trying to sound more intelligent. In an effort to bolster your own confidence. Like, it never works because somebody listened to what Amber said just now and they decided, no, that I'm going to continue to do that. It doesn't work, guys. Like, let's just put it out there. It will never improve your business to attempt to talk over people's heads. Never, ever, ever, never. So just don't do it. It's not working. It hasn't been working. It's not going to start working. That's all I got.
I think it's because we all intuitively know that oftentimes when people use big words, it's a way to mask their lack of knowledge in a subject.
Right.
There's a fun little book of essays by the physicist Richard Feynman, part of the Manhattan Project, really famous physicist. And one of the stories that he tells in this book is he's teaching at a university, I believe it's in Brazil, because he talks about how he learned Portuguese and it wasn't in Portugal. So I believe it's in Brazil. And he's teaching at a university physics. And he got really frustrated with the students at the university because all of the students who were at the university, all that they wanted to know was just enough to be able to pass the exam so that they could work for the government and have a job. They didn't actually care about physics. And then Richard Feynman is like the most passionate person about physics ever, right? So you can imagine how there was this disconnect. And in order to pass these exams to be able to get this job for the government, they just needed to know the names of stuff. And what Feynman says is that I'm not impressed if you know the name of a bird. What I'm impressed about is if you can tell me how the bird flies, why the bird migrates, the details of the thing. I don't care if you know the name of it or not. And oftentimes, if you catch yourself, this is a way to check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Good usage, John. Good job.
If you catch yourself using a big word or jargon or something like that, it's worth thinking and taking a step back for a second. You're like, did I use that word because I really understand the subject, or did I use that word because of the exact opposite reason, because I don't really understand the subject and I'm masking it? And in my experience, it's often been the latter, and that's a sign to me to either not talk about the thing because I don't really understand the thing, or go and learn more about the thing before I talk about the thing. I try to, everything that I write, I try to make sure it's at a 5th grade level or lower. There's a super easy way to test this. It's the Hemingway app. It's free. I know Amber's a big fan of it. I don't use it much anymore just because I write so much.
You learn.
Kind of a good, but anything that you write, you can just paste it into the Hemingway app and it'll tell you what grade level your writing's at. And it's useful, particularly if you have any kind of sales materials. Mm-hmm. I am willing to bet that any sales materials, any advertising copy that you have, if it is written above a 5th grade level, if you can bring it below a 5th grade level without changing any of the meaning, without changing anything else, it will convert better.
Yep.
Anything else on this, guys, or should we move on?
That
was good. There was penises, there was rap references, there was a great analogy and euphemism by Ren. That was good stuff.
It's everything that we do.
That was very on brand for us.
Yeah,
that was the most on brand 10 minutes.
You could play that 5 minutes and someone would instantly know what the entire stream of episodes is like watching this show, listening. Sorry.
Yep. This is the online trainer show. No, not that one. Okay. Next one. Amber, build community.
Ooh.
So this one's interesting to me because I feel like everybody wants to do this, but it's really difficult to do and to execute well. So people don't leave communities that they enjoy, right? Great examples like flat earthers, right? Like no matter how many times they disprove themselves, they stick around because they're part of a community that they enjoy being in, right? And so that's like a really extreme example. But people stick around for a place that they feel like they belong in. And so building a community is a really great free way to add value if you execute. But that's the really hard part. Adrian Van Vleck.
Talk about Adrian's.
Adrian Van Vleck does an amazing job. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it's like some fitness. Yeah, like fitness nerds, something.
Yeah, I'll find it.
I don't remember how you can tell us how many people are in it as well, but like everybody wants to be a part of this group. It's fun and it's very on brand as far as like there's tons of nerdy stuff. He's constantly like making fun of himself. The whole group is like making memes of Adrian.
That's funny.
And they have these inside jokes. Like there's something about like being puritanical or something, which is like basically a way of saying like, don't get too like thirsty in the group, you know, when you're sharing like selfies and whatever. And then they have all of these inside jokes, history that comes back up, you know, so you just want to be a part of it. And if you don't know the joke, you feel like you're missing out. And so you have to like search the group to see what happened.
There's an in crowd and an out crowd, and the in crowd gets it, and the out crowd wants to get it, so they do. The name of the group is Fitness Node Forum.
Yes,
a community for health, nutrition, gamers, weight loss, and nodes, and it's got 10.1 thousand members.
Yep. So he does an excellent job. I mean, at this point, he has, you know, additional mods and stuff that volunteer to help keep the group as on track as possible. But it's executed very well. They do challenges, you know, based off of different nerdy things. I can't remember the one that they're doing now, but they've done like Harry Potter ones in the past and all sorts of fun stuff. But, you know, it's very much everybody feels included. Everybody feels like they have something to add, feels like they have something to learn. So that's a great way to add value. But again, if you can execute, it doesn't have to be on Facebook though. You know, there are tons of other ways to create communities. John, were you going to say something? I thought I saw your brain.
No, I coughed.
Go off. Oh, okay.
I coughed, so I muted myself. Yeah, I mean, community is one of those things that you're told to do over and over and over again. And you know you haven't really done it. You've kind of done, but you kind of half-assed it because you don't really know how to do it because it's not really the type of thing that can be taught that easily. I was writing about this with referrals the other day for the book. And one of the things I said in the book, I mean, it might make it to the final copy or not, but I was like, Google referral systems and read a couple of the articles. They're all terrible. Every single one of them. And it's not because the people who write these articles aren't good. It's because there are some topics in business where you can say, do this, do that, say that, use these words, do this, and it works. And then there's other topics where you can't. And often the topics that you can't do that, like referrals, like community, have to do a lot more with psychology. Right? Mm-hmm. It's how humans operate. And communities are like that. They're tough. They have to be centered around. So I want to give like a couple kind of quick hit rules, and you hit on a few of them, and I want to kind of bring them back. You know, it doesn't really matter where they are. It could be a Slack group, could be a Telegram text message group, could be a Facebook group, right? Could be something where you meet in real life once a month or whatever, right? But there needs to be a reason for it. And that reason needs to be centered around what makes you weird and different and not what makes you the same as everybody else. And so in Adrian's case, it's around nodes and stuff like that. And like, yeah, nodes want to be jacked. Like, of course, probably more than anybody else. As a node, as a socially awkward male, I can tell you how much getting in shape helps for no other reason than I'm just stupid. And I think that it helps because not every female, but most women that I've met tell me that they don't really care about biceps and big arms and big muscles and stuff like that. But I'm stupid and I don't get it. And so I think that it does because men are stupid. And so I work really hard to build muscle. And then that muscle gives me confidence. And girls actually do like confidence. And so actually the muscle that I build gives me confidence, which girls do like, which helps me get girls. I mean, it doesn't anymore because it doesn't matter because I'm married. But it took me so long it took me so long to figure this all out. And if you're like, a lot of nerds are socially awkward, you know, this could give them that confidence to show up in ways in their life. Not all of them. But I can say this. It's like the author Yuval Noah Harari, the amazing Israeli historian, author of *Sapiens* and *Homo Deus* and a few others, is a gay Israeli historian. And the book *Sapiens* is a must. It's phenomenal. But all of the examples, or a lot of the examples that he uses, are examples that cast his home country, Israel, in a bad light. And he does that because he's like, you can't fight me on this. if I'm talking about stuff that I'm passionate about in a negative light, you can't be like, that's not true. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I'm doing here. But, and so rule number one, bringing this back, is that it needs to be centered around what makes you weird, because that's where a lot of the jokes are going to stem from.
Mm-hmm.
And rule number two is the more inside jokes, the better. And don't fight it. I mean, quick coach, just everybody hates on me because I say that pineapple on pizza is nasty, which it is. Amber,
Wrong.
you have
Wrong.
the worst taste of pizza in your face than anybody.
Benedict
But
Canada,
that's
by
like,
the way.
it's like whatever it is, whatever you do, look for inside jokes, look for little details in those communities. And then you can start to work that stuff into your programs even.
Mm-hmm.
Like your pitch could be like, hey, if you're really weird and have terrible taste buds and actually like pineapple on pizza, well, like, here's how you shove that thing in your face once a week and still lose weight. Like that could be like part of the like pitch to get clients.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
know? Still super
100%.
weird though, Amber.
Whatever. I'll have to tell you about trying miracle berries over the weekend.
Some
Maybe
sort
on
of
another
drugs?
episode.
What'd you do?
No, it's something that you take and it gets rid of the it covers your taste buds that like detect like bitter, sour type flavors, and so like a lemon will taste sweet. It tastes like lemonade.
Shut up.
Yeah, and so I was having fun with
your
that.
Face.
Yeah, so I was having fun testing out some stuff over the weekend just to see, because like during the winter, my mom always like really struggles with getting fruit in, because all the fruit she likes is like usually during this time of the year, and so when she does get it, it's kind of like sour, and so I was testing it out to see if it would help her during the winter, so that way she could still eat the fruit, but it would taste more sweet than it really is.
You know, they just ship that stuff from like places it grows now, right?
It doesn't come right though.
The new world.
I know, but when we buy stuff, it just doesn't taste right here.
This is true.
So anyway, so they tested it as well, and it really helped. So, anyway, any other
they
rules?
Don't have that up here in Canada yet.
For building community.
The next rule. Oh, for building community? No. Anything else you guys want to add to that?
I did feel like I had something. We were talking about inside jokes. Nope, I forget. Move on.
Okay. The next way to add value without money is curation. I like this one a lot. Curation.
Me too. I like this.
Agreed. This one's kind of fun. So like take things off their plate, right? And so like with my demographic, this was a really big deal. So my demographic used to be hot mess working moms who want to lose weight without losing their shit. So again, I can't give them any additional tasks, right? I have to like help them get sorted so they can execute. And so a really great way to do this, as an example, like a lot of moms I know want to eat healthier, but they are also not a sous chef. They are not, going to make something different for their spouse. They're not going to make something different for each of their kids, plus the healthy thing for them. So then the problem becomes, how do I eat healthy and get my kids and my spouse to eat vegetables without cooking all this extra stuff? And so, I could put together a way to introduce, veggies and get everybody on the same team. And how do I talk to the kids and my spouse about eating healthy in a productive way? And how do we make it fun so people actually want to participate? And so figuring that out and presenting and giving a plan for them to try, right, can be a way to make things easier for them that doesn't cost anything, but adds a ton of value.
I feel like far too many online trainers utilize this. Here's what I feel. We are prone to giving people the facts, which is important, and the data and the science. But I don't think that we pay enough attention to the areas of difficulty that are right underneath the level of the information. Like I had a client early on in my career tell me, she told me, I don't have a cooking sheet. She said, you keep talking about these roasted Brussels sprouts, but I actually don't own, I never had a cooking sheet. So I don't have one. So I haven't had time to get one. I Amazoned her 2 cooking sheets.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's easy to miss the fact that there are simple things happening in people's daily lives that they don't have access to, or they literally, first of all, for clarity, I work with moms over 30. So kind of similar to Amber's demographic. And if you're not a mom, you don't know what mom time is like. You just have, when they tell you that they don't have time, you kind of got to trust it, particularly from my perspective, because I'm not a mom. But in any case, I've done things like that, like sending cookie sheets. I've done things like sending recipe books to clients. Like you just have, curating something for a client is probably one of the shortest routes to connect to their humanity, because particularly for this demographic, it offers an opportunity for you to prove to them that they are seen, right? And so many clients, particularly in the mom space, sort of go unseen. Suggested to a client that she walk every day. She said, Ren, there's like a high rate of crime and assault on my block where I live. I try not to go outside very often. Also, as a larger woman, people will randomly say things to me as I'm walking,
Mm-hmm.
like you should be running, right? So got a little the little step thing that you can use where you pretend like it's not a stepper, but it's just the pedal part.
The
So
under the
she,
desk
yeah,
elliptical.
for under the desk.
Mm-hmm.
So I love the idea of curating because it allows you to connect the science and information to the humanity of the person, and it's a great way to figure out how you might want to gift your client for lower amounts, even if it's just curating information that they don't have time to look for, which again puts you
Mm-hmm.
back in the no cost lane. Sometimes it's just an article. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
just an article. I've sent articles and sent a summary with it before. Hey, so you don't
Oh,
have to
that's
read
fun.
all that science. Let me tell you what it says. And I'll highlight what the summary is pointing to in the actual article. So it's easy for them to just glance up, see some science that they don't understand, but they can trust that it's real. And then
Let me
below, I have it written out. What that means to you is I love curating.
let me give you a rule. Every time you read an article or come across a piece of information you think is good
Put it
about
away.
anything, send it to at least one person.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Send it to at least one person. A lot of my career has been built off of curation
Mm-hmm.
of other people's materials. On a different scale, perhaps, than what you might be doing, but same kind of idea. And I actually think there's multiple benefits to curation like this. For 8 years, I published the industry's list of the best fitness articles first, and then best
Mm-hmm.
fitness content, because we started to include podcasts and Instagram posts on the net. We publish that every Sunday morning at 6 a.m. on the ptdc.com for 8 years. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people came to those. And those provided a few things. We became the trusted source of content
Mm-hmm.
because and so we became trusted and more trusted sources. Obviously, people came to our websites and stuff like that because we linked it. And so a great thing to still do if you have a website is just produce a roundup. Nobody does this shit anymore. It's so effective. Produce a roundup once a week or once every 2 weeks of like, here's the best stuff I found on the internet this week. Send that one list to your clients. Because then what you can also do is when you share that list, or whenever anybody would be listed on the best fitness articles that we put on the PTDC, I went and sent the person who produced the piece of content a private message. And I didn't ask anything from them, but I said to them, hey, just want to thank you. This article you wrote on knee pain, or this post you put up on overcoming adversity, or whatever it was, I really, really loved, so much so that I included it on the list of best articles. Awesome work. Thank you so much. Hope you're good. 4 times out of 5, that person would share that list of mine because it makes them look good, right? Like they were mentioned, they were recognized. It makes them look good. So a lot of much bigger people, pages and stuff over the years this is like a great way to get people who perhaps have much bigger followings than you to share you. Right? Yeah. And then people are coming to your thing, and as long as you've set up your home base and branded it properly, you'll A, gain some followers from it, B, some folks will like come to the website and check out that list and click around to other stuff, and over time it'll start to get more and more valuable, and you are building a much better professional network through service to other people. You're not reaching out to these people asking for something from them. Mm-hmm. You're giving them something. And then you're following them and you start commenting. And now you have a relationship with these people in your industry that are notable. I think it's incredibly valuable for a lot of reasons. And so I like those 2 rules. Number 1, you're reading the stuff, you're doom scrolling Instagram on the toilet, whatever, anyway. Like, you're doing this stuff anyway. Anytime you come across something that's good, just have a rule that you have to send it to at least one person.
Yep.
And just say, hey, like, I really love this because of that reason. Here, thought you'd enjoy it. Right, was thinking of you. And the second is, I love these roundups of the best stuff that you found this past week. I mean, they're so incredibly effective. A lot of people, Brett Contreras got to start doing them. I'm not saying that it's the reason for his success, but a lot of the network, a lot of the professional relationships, a lot of the traffic that he got before he was the name that he is in the industry now is from that. Ben Bruno, same thing. Jordan Syatt, same thing. Right? And these are all people now, 7-8 years later, who have hundreds of thousands of followers and great businesses and great reputations and stuff like that. And I'm not saying the reason is because they built a list of the stuff that they were reading, but it was a pretty important part of their story. Mm-hmm. And it's a pretty important part of my story as well. I stole the list from Brett. We laugh about it. We laughed about it. I was like, y'all just stop doing it. So I didn't ask. Like, if you wanted to keep doing it, you could have done it too. I was just like, yo, that's a good idea. I'm just going to start doing it. And they're like, all right, somebody else is doing it now. I don't need to anymore. Nice. And I did it. I did it for like 8 years. Okay, next up.
Nice.
Be flexible.
Yeah. I mean, like, when possible, if we can accommodate a request, we certainly should. Within reason. I mean, we should have a pretty solid framework, but we should have some flexibility if it's going to make it more effective and executable for our clients. So like John's mentioned, before, like some clients just really want to feel their abs being sore, after a workout, because in their brain, that's what constitutes a good workout. Okay, fine. So we'll do an ab burnout at the end. It's fine. Not a big deal. Whatever. Right. It may not suit your philosophy, but so what? If it's not going to hurt them and it's, and it makes them happy and it keeps them coming back. Awesome.
My abs were so sore last week after it was like a pull-up workout. My abs were wrecked for like 4 days.
Holy stability.
Every time I coughed, I was like, ow. Damn allergies.
But then you're like, oh, that feels so good too. It's the best.
Yeah, but also, hey baby, come over here. Look at me. And she's just like, I am covered in so much snot. And I've cleaned 4 shits today.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm into this right now, John.
Don't care what your abs look like.
Oh my God.
Like. Got me into this mess to begin with.
They don't look any different than they did before. So it's all in your head, kid. You ain't getting nothing. Go to bed.
Exactly.
So we should not argue with our client about kinesiology and physiology. If they ask for a simple review, I like to feel my abs. Well, actually, Brenda, the transverse abdominis and the rectus abdominis don't require spinal flexion. So really, all you need to so don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Because it could be easy to do that. You just yield a little bit. Just give them,
Yep.
just be a little flexible.
Yeah, pick your hill to die on very wisely.
I think that's the take home message, is it not?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
pick your battles. Pick your battles. You know, I don't think that there's will a client really gain from doing like a bicep burnout at the end of a workout? It's like probably not. It's like
Probably not.
You know, the same workout that we did. You know, there was God, I don't know. There was 30 chin-ups, then 20 chin-ups, then 10 chin-ups in the workout, amongst other things. And at the end of it, we did 3 sets of 20 barbell bicep curls. Like, those bicep curls aren't going to do jack shit. But I tell you right now, I was looking down at my arms when I was doing them, dude.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. At the end, I mean, this goes into like programming. I find, especially general pop programming, I find endlessly fascinating because there's this balance to me between psychology and physiology.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really important to understand the balance of it. And one of the main components, I think, to a great program is to understand recency bias. Is to understand that a client, anybody, I mean, you, me, anybody, remembers what they did most recently. They don't remember everything. We remember what we did most recently. And that's generally what we associate any emotions, positive or negative, towards. And so the idea of programming and ending a workout on something that the client really enjoys or feels good at or feels good about themselves by doing is going to lend themselves to be more excited to come back the next time. You could put that client through something they hate for 40 minutes. But if at the end they get to make their abs hurt or their glutes burn or their arms pumped, depending on gender, probably.
Right.
They not necessarily. Then they're gonna be more excited to come back. They're gonna leave that workout feeling great. They're gonna be more excited to come back. I think that's a really important aspect. That's, to me, the art and the science of the thing, isn't it?
Nope.
Flexible. Okay, we got to get through these. Sorry, go on. Finish what you're saying. But
so just other flexibility stuff. You know, like we just want to remove resistance to them participating. Ultimately, you know, so if they need to, you know, track food differently, or if they need to check in with you differently than you typically do, and you can make it work for you and not totally disrupt everything that you have going on, then why not? You know.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah. At the end of the day, if they're doing it, them doing it is much more important than them doing it as well as they could possibly do it. Cool. Okay. Next one. We've got 2 more left. Be fast. That's what she said. Okay.
That is not what she said.
I don't think she said that.
Don't think so. So we live in a world of instant gratification, obviously. And I remember visiting my older sister in Atlanta, and like I could get Amazon packages within 2 hours. It was awesome.
It's crazy.
Loved
We don't understand that in Canada. In Canada, it's like next day.
Yeah.
In the US, it's crazy in some places how fast this stuff comes.
Yeah. So if we can find ways to meet our clients where they're at as quickly as possible, and it won't always be possible, but there are places where we can do that. So like, for example, if you do send some sort of welcome packet or something like that, doing it overnight, right? It reinforces that they've made a good decision. It meets them where they have that 24-hour, oh shit moment. And it reinforces that they did in fact do a good thing by joining with you. And they get that kind of high from receiving something unexpected in the mail. When they sign up with you, getting instant access to something, even if you have to build their programming, they need access to do something, you know? So if you have a 1-week buffer, that's like a basic workout that introduces them to the app and it helps them just get used to moving, great. But they need that instant access to something. And then my favorite is quick response times, because that's my jam is hyper communication. You know, so if that works with your personality, you could certainly lean into being able to answer quickly, depending on how you communicate with your clients. So
the quick response time one is so hard for me. I agree, it's really important, but I'm so careful with expectations. Like
100%.
We've already established at how bad at answering messages I am. And the worst thing ever is when I finally get around to answering my email which like most emails sit in my inbox for like a week. To anybody who sends me an email, they know that. And I don't feel any like I'll get to it when I get to it. Like, I don't feel any pressure to get back to you immediately. But the worst thing is when I finally respond to all those emails and I go through it, and then they respond back, and I'm back in the same place as I started. It's like, yo, you just take a week. Like, we can all just chill out a little bit here. So the idea of setting precedents for fast response times, I think it's very much situation specific. And so it's a hard nut to crack. I agree with you. Exceptional customer service is remarkably fast response times, like we do in Quick Coach. I mean, it is uncanny how quickly we provide support whenever there's anybody who needs anything that uses Quick Coach in the Facebook group. It's uncanny. It's like a contest to see who can get back quicker between you and I, Amber.
Yep.
But that's a software platform. The answers are usually pretty short. They're not like coaching conversations. So I don't know how to navigate that.
So I think this is one of those things where you under promise and over deliver, right? And the things that you can plan ahead for, and having those kind of scripted answers, where it makes sense to have them. But otherwise, you don't have to have, here's the answer to your question, but an acknowledgement, I think, is really helpful, just to say, hey, I saw this when I get to my desk, because I do this with Misty, because it drives her nuts at another job that Misty's our a customer service person who works for us, but she works at another company doing customer service stuff. And it takes them like 3 hours to respond to her to help her figure something out. And like, I'll message her like in the morning, I just got out of the bed, like, I can't answer this for you right now, but I see it. And as soon as I get to the desk, I'll respond. Right. And so just to know that you've been seen makes a big difference. So you don't have to have the answer, but an acknowledgement, I think, is really important.
I think that's a really great point. I actually sent a message like that today.
I saw that, Jonathan.
Yeah. So Jonathan Para is an exceptional user interface designer.
He's so good.
He's so good. And he works with us on Quick Coach, and he's responsible for how clean and slick the thing is. And so we're redesigning some of the settings and stuff like that, because we've added so much in, and we're adding in notifications, and we've added in all these customization options and stuff. And so the settings now has gotten to be a lot more options, because there's a lot more customization, and the old design doesn't work. And so he's working on it, and he sent all the new designs through. And I just sent a message. She said, hey, just want you to know I got this. I can't take a good look at it today. I can do my best to go through it tomorrow and send you any notes. I do think that makes a big difference, especially with people you're working with, or with people who you're hoping to set aside a time for you to work for you or work with you in any capacity. That way, at least he can be like, all right, I know I don't need to worry about getting this email today. Like, I don't know whether he would anyway, but it's kind of always in the back of your mind, right? You check your email, you're like, oh, did he get back? Whatever. So I like that point.
And we tend to tell ourselves stories, right? Because like, I do respond so quickly that when someone doesn't respond quickly to me, it makes me anxious. Yeah. And so, because I assume everyone's like me, like we all kind of do, right? And so having that acknowledgement can kind of soothe those internal voices for clients. Like, well, when are they going to get back to me? Especially if they're feeling, upset about something or what have you. Even if they're like, I think you're the worst ever. Hey, cool. I do want to talk about that. Let me get to my desk. But it prevents that internal dialogue that a lot of people tend to have. Right. And so that way they don't take themselves down an unnecessary track.
Something you mentioned here that I thought was a good point on the Be Fast. This is from your notes, Amber, is immediate access to programming, even if it's just the first week, giving them a week's worth of things to do to hit the ground running. I think it's important to talk about that real quick before we move on.
I mentioned it earlier.
Did you?
I did.
Oh, shit. Okay.
You were not listening to me.
It was slipped into the sentence, John. She said,
you can add more, though. You can add more.
Give me an example. No, I don't have anything more to add. I mean, I think.
Yeah, well, just like a basic workout, even.
What would you do?
So like I mentioned, doing like a basic workout, like just to kind of get them in the mode of using the software, if you're using software, and to give them those early wins, right? Because like we wouldn't want to throw them into a full CrossFit workout right out the gate, right? Like we want them to feel good. And so that first week is a really great time to give them a basic workout that they can feel good about, or any type of data collection, keep track of your breakfast for the next 3 days, or whatever, just some type of work that they have to do and start thinking about while you do what you need to do. But they need immediate access and direction, so they don't feel like they're twiddling their thumbs waiting for you.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, we give people who join our mentorship right away, we give them a vision assignment immediately. And the vision assignment just helps them continue on the process. That's our sales process, which is help them imagine what their future looks like, help them imagine what their ideal business looks like. There's no right or wrong answer, but it's just continuing on with that process. When somebody first signs up with you, you're not ready to often dive in. You need to gather more information, or it takes a couple of days to book the initial calls and whatever. You're never going to be ready to jump that moment, but that moment is a very important moment in the customer journey.
Yep.
And I like the idea of vision assignments. I think for sure, like, it's not going to be a perfect workout. Other trainers might look at that workout, if they were to see it, and say, "Oh my God, I can't believe that you're having them do that workout. Why? This isn't part of periodized programming." And you're like, shut the fuck up, box jump Josh. Like, you're just, it's his first day. Like, it's fine. If he moves, it's better than if he not moves. And,
right.
We're going to make it better over time, Josh. So Josh, it's enough. Okay, let's move on. Last one. And then we'll get to what's in the box.
Hey, Ren, do you want to go grab the stuff
He
while we do this last one? Oh, did you?
He got it. Yeah, he got it.
Oh, wow. I
quick
didn't
to
see
that.
you leave. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Never mind.
Last one. Help them do good.
So I like this. To me, this is kind of tied into helping our clients kind of realize the person they want to be, right? We're helping them through some sort of transformation. And I think a lot of people want to give back in a lot of ways, or they want to feel like they are kind of part of this bigger community and making an impact on the world that they live in. And if we can help them do some sort of good, I think that adds a lot of value that's hard to explain. So basic example, like for every task that they complete on a daily basis, it gets checked off. You donate a certain amount toward a foundation of their choosing, is one. Or like if Gina Mauricio, is that her name? I can't. The runner, runner coach. Okay. I don't think she does something like this, but she does the whole running community thing, right? And like she could have a thing where she helps them donate, their running shoes after they've, done a certain amount, and they can see the impact that they're doing there. So there's so many ways.
Some way to make it bigger than them.
Exactly. It's funny because I feel like humans in general do better when we're helping someone else.
Yes.
Versus when we're doing it for ourselves. And so if we can add that element to it, it makes it to where they'll stick with it a little bit longer, because it feels like, I'm helping someone else. Like I won't go dancing, like gross. But like if a girlfriend wants to go and she's nervous, I'll do it for her because I want to protect her and she wants to do it, but I would not do that for me, and so, just that what's that word? Altruism.
I won't go dancing because
no. Nope. The last time I went to a club, I cried. Like legitimately, I cried. I was like 22.
From that town in the movie Footloose where they banned dancing. That's what
Amber's the type of person who will go to a club with like Cards Against Humanity and try to find a group of people.
Literally. It's just too many people, and like I don't want people like I don't know. I can't.
Don't want people clubbing you.
You don't want sweaty.
It's not that. So fast funny story. I did try to take salsa and bachata lessons,
Okay.
but I'm so awkward that like I can't look at the person's face, right? Like as we're dancing. And so I got paired up with the instructor because I went by myself, and so I don't have a dance partner. And so I'm dancing with the instructor.
Like this like incredibly good looking, suave.
No, it was a woman, and she's cute, but you know, I'm into dudes. Cool. And so, but she's wearing like a bra top and a mesh shirt, and I'm looking down at her feet because I can't look at her face because it makes me uncomfortable. So I'm watching her feet, and then I realize she probably thinks I'm staring at her boobs the entire time because that's kind of what's out. But I feel so uncomfortable that I can't look up. And so I haven't been back since because I feel like she thinks I was checking her out too much.
Did you, when you finally looked up at her face, did you just say, nice?
No. I was, no.
You gotta lean into the awkwardness. It's like if you're in a fancy restaurant or something like that and you knock over a piece of cutlery on the floor and it makes a big noise. It's like there's two reactions. The first reaction is to just own it. It's like, that was me. And you just like throw up your. The second reaction, and this one takes a lot more skill, is to pretend that it wasn't you and play it off like it was nothing. It's the same thing with farting in public, by the way. Okay, Ren,
sweet Jesus.
Open.
Ren, what's in the box?
So Amber sent me a.
This is from John, and it was his idea.
Oh, I'm talking about the message. I'm talking about the message.
Oh, okay.
Amber sends me a message. What's your shoe size? Said 9.
There was no covert way of doing this.
Right. I was like, 9, why? And I said, am I getting some shoes? She said, well, I don't know. So I got these cool ass, oh my God, are these VO2s? This must be VO2s. I got these cool ass Nikes. John, these are dope, man.
Yeah, buddy. Those are good.
These black and yellow, and I got some shirts to go with these. See that internet land?
Yellow,
oh, these. Oh man, look at that! Look at that!
Read the back.
So, for those that don't know in the podcast, I go by MC Tuck Tuck.
Yes.
Based on the story John told that I ad-libbed on, and the shoes on one shoe it's going to be backwards on the screen. It has MC. And on the other shoe, it's going to be hard to see on the screen. It has Tuck, T-U-K. It's backwards, but there's your T and your U and your K. And these are awesome, John. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And if you want to know the story behind MC Tuck Tuck, it has to do with that time when a woman in the Philippines at 2 a.m. in the morning as I was stumbling home drunk pulled my hand forcefully down onto her penis. You can hear that story, and I'll recommend you listen to this episode next. You can hear that story by scrolling back in your podcast feed and listening to episode 11. We're going way back. Episode 11, buying $500 from a meat truck, future me hates current me, and Tuck Tuck.
There was a lot of meat in that episode.
The story behind MC Tuck Tuck.
Cleaning.
Amber, thank you for being the all-star. Appreciate your insights.
Good stuff.
It's always fun eating cookies with you while Amber does the majority of the work for both of us.
I love it. These shoes are dope.
Bye.